The chime of the bell beckons us into a sacred time. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston, where we widen love's circle by honoring the inherent worth and dignity of all, and by working towards justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. We extend a heartfelt and inclusive invitation to join us in meaningful worship and in service to the world. We are excited to welcome back to our pulpit the Reverend Aaron Walter, the minister and executive director of the Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry. Winner of the 2017 Sermon Award from the UU Women's Federation and board member of Texas Impact, Reverend Aaron is the singer, songwriter, bassist for the band Parker Woodland and considers music a spiritual practice. In 2022, her book, Care for the World, Reflections on Community Ministry, was published by Skinner House Books. So we really welcome Reverend Aaron this morning. If you are like me, the most efficient way to notice a typo in your email is to hit send. It sometimes happens to the staff as well, as nearly perfect as they are. The Fannie Lou Hamer workshop is on the 7th, not the 17th, and today's trip to the museum steps off at 1:15, not 1:30. We welcome those watching the live stream and hope you will fill out the online attendance form. And we encourage those here in person to take a moment to introduce yourself to someone you don't yet know. Now please join Reverend Aaron as she introduces our first hymn.
Good morning. What a joy to be back with you. Would you rise in body and or spirit at home or here in the sanctuary? The words to our hymn, Spirit of Life or Fuente de Amor, are in the insert, which, here I have it. This song, this hymn, is one of my favorites because it was our congregational, let's see, I'm going to switch. It was our congregational hymn at my congregation, Second Unitarian in Chicago. So I think about our UU siblings all around the country when I sing it with you. First in English and the second time in Espanol. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in sound beautiful. We're going to do a lot of singing together this morning, so good job. Our call to worship this morning comes from my colleague, the Reverend Tanya Marquez, entitled Our Lives Intersect and Intertwine. It is a wonder and mystery that our paths have crossed, that the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincide here. I am in awe at the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine, at the beauty we create when we gather. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, and more loving. May our hearts and minds be open to this offering. I am so glad you are here. Let us worship, let us marvel at the miracle of being here right now and the mystery that has brought us together.
Please join me this morning in saying our congregational covenant. You will find it in our order of service if you need to read it. Love is the spirit of our congregation. Service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to encourage one another. Thus do we covenant.
You have wonderful ministers and staff at this church, and it is an honor to be invited here. And one of the many things that I appreciate about them is their flexibility. So when I reached out to them and said, I know we said we're going to do this one song for special music, but I have a video for a brand new music video with your Texas U, your Justice Ministry in it. Some of you may even be in it. Could we show it? And they said yes, and they made it happen. So we're going to save the song that we'll sing together for a little bit later, and I want to invite you to behold the premiere of this video, which includes UUs coming together in the state capitol. This is my band, so you'll hear me singing a song that was originally recorded by Holly Near, and which is very dear to a lot of us in the justice movement. We've sung it together at the Capitol. And the young person that you'll see is Arwen Heil-Rain, an 18-year-old emerging adult from one of your sibling congregations here in Texas. And the video was also made by a volunteer. So here you go, premiering.
To be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. There is a hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is a panic all across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world around. But I am open to hold my tears. Oh, I am open and I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us. So lift me up to the light of change. Yeah, lift me up to the light of change.
That was really cool. This is the time when the young folks head out and go do some cool activities. At the first service, Carol was talking to the parents and youth about the OWL program that's kicking off. If you are a parent and don't know about the OWL program, you need to, because it's really an amazing program. All through seminary, I was bragging on it whenever I had the chance, because it's really a unique and wonderful thing. But what the folks leaving right now are going to do, they're getting a head start on talking about and learning about our Lives of the Spirit individual for February, which is Fannie Lou Hamer. So as the young folks head out, the adults are going to sing to them by looking in your order of service and finding the words to As You Go. This is the time during the service when we pause, when we take the time to enjoy just being. It's the time when we stop rushing and try to shut out distractions. It's the time during the week when we are able to be comfortable with the silence. And so we have intentionally carved out this time to calmly enter into a time of quietness. This is a time that some call meditation and others name prayer. Let your body settle into a comfortable place. Breathe with me as we gather to do the holy work of kinship and support. Open your mind, open your heart. God of many names and mystery beyond all our naming, as Black History Month begins, we acknowledge that the last several years have shown us that the arc of the moral universe may not be as near to justice as we might have imagined. Blatant racism, division, and violence are featured regularly on each newscast, and our state is often featured prominently. We ask that the words of Theodore Parker and Martin Luther King resonate with us in a new and special way this day. Help us to remember to see and recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every person. May our hearts be open to renew our commitment to justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. We pray in the names of all those known and unknown, present and absent, remembered and forgotten. We pray in the names of all helpers of humankind. Amen. We pause now together to lift up that which sits heavy and light on our hearts. While we know the attention of the Almighty is sought by those seeking to influence the winners of the Grammys and the Super Bowl, We ask for help in influencing governments to provide peace and comfort to war-torn countries, and justice to countries suffering not just physical brutality, but the violence of poverty. We now turn to a practice inspired by African, indigenous, and pagan traditions. We say aloud or bring to mind those who we wish to be held by the loving embrace of this religious community. They are part of the great cloud of witness and memory, and we will, even if we do not know their names, hold them in our hearts. In this great cloud of witness and memory, amid this beloved community, we hear these names and hold them in our hearts. Let us remember the suffering and joy amid and among our community that we do not know. Each week, at this juncture, we enter into a time of silence, a time when we pause in awe and wonder of the beauty, diversity, and mystery that is life. In the spirit of love, in the spirit of hope, and in the spirit of compassion, I now invite each of you to enter into a time of silent prayer, meditation, or reflection.
Each week, our morning offering is shared with a congregation or an organization, I should say organization usually, that shares our Unitarian Universalist values and through which we may live out our principles in the world. Today, our shared offering will help to support the Texas Unitarian Universalist Justice Ministry, also known for short as TXUUJM. It educates and organizes Texas UUs, member congregations, and partners to advocate for effective UU principles in public policy and the public square. Our guest preacher this morning, the Reverend Aaron Walter, is the executive director of TXUUJM. We welcome her to speak with us.
On behalf of the board of TXUJM, the advisory council, which includes members of your church as well, and all of your UU siblings around the state of Texas, the partners that we work with, the directly impacted communities, thank you so much for being a longstanding member of this organization and for your ongoing generosity. I will just tell you, for the sake of hope, a little bit about what your generosity makes possible. First of all, we're a scrappy little organization. Nobody is full-time yet, and we don't have a building, nor do we aspire to one. We come to you, and we come to the Capitol. Your donation will not be paying for air conditioning. Your donation directly translates into energy and time to organize you and the approximately 40 other UU congregations around the state to show up powerfully and effectively at the state level. And I'll tell you, we've been hearing from all of our partners as we've emerged back out of the pandemic, however you want to describe it. I personally had COVID last month, so solidarity to everyone who is still struggling with that. But coming back to the Capitol and showing up so fiercely as you saw in that video, it matters to our partners. We defeated in our coalitions 95% of the anti-LGBTQIA+ bills in the ledge last year. It's huge, it's huge. If you weren't showing up, if we weren't organizing, it would be so much worse. And we continue to fight the ones that make it through the courts, through the public opinion, through all of the work that we're doing in mutual aid and grassroots work. And it's not just the things that we fight. There's the places where we win new rights, new resources. So over the past 2 legislative sessions, the coalitions led by Black women in our legislature, Tony Rose in particular, we have worked with them to get passed, to take our postpartum health care in Texas from a paltry 2 months to 12. And we got there in this last session. You got us there. Give yourself a hand for that too. We do other things like work with our congregations to train OWL facilitators. We hold programming to help our congregations be as welcoming as we aspire to be. We've done the Trans Inclusion in Congregations program with 16 of our congregations so far and written grants so that it's free to all of you. But your donations, your contributions are what make this powerful organizing possible. I cannot thank you enough, and I just invite you to be as generous as you can be, and I pledge to you that your funds will go powerfully and to good use. Thank you so much.
Our regular Sunday morning offering collection invites us to weave a tapestry of love and action. We ask you to give generously. An offering will now be gratefully received.
join with me in reading the dedication to the offering, which you can find in your order of service. To the work of this church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings.
Our first reading is a quote from Dorothy Day. People say, "What is the sense of our small effort?" They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has the right to sit down and feel helpless or hopeless. There is too much work to do. Here ends the reading.
The second reading is also a quote. This one is by W.E.B. Du Bois. Now is the accepted time, not tomorrow, not some more convenient season. It is today that our best work can be done, and not some future day or future year. It is today that we fit ourselves for the greater usefulness of tomorrow. Today is the seed time. Now are the hours of work. And tomorrow comes the harvest and the playtime. There ends the second reading.
Please rise and body your spirit and join me in your teal hymnals with hymn number 1020.
It will be hard, we know, and the road will be muddy and rough, but we'll get there. We come together today to recommit ourselves to the fifth principle of our faith, democracy, and to vision together what our world and what our Texas will be like 1,000 elections from now, if we do that work that Dorothy Day and W.E.B. Du Bois call us to do. My colleague, the Reverend Dr. Natalie Fenimore, the Minister for Lifespan Religious Education at the UU congregation Shelter Rock in New York, tells this story in centering navigating race, authenticity, and power in ministry. She tells of Shirley Chisholm, who was asked why she, a black woman, was running for president in these United States of America. Someone asked Shirley Chisholm, they said, "You don't have a chance. Why are you doing that?" And she said, "Because I am in love with the America that does not yet exist." And that's how Unitarian Universalism is also, says the Reverend Dr. Fenimore. "I'm in love," she says, "with the Unitarian Universalism that does not yet exist. I have to hold both the love for that thing and the love for the reality. It does not exist yet. It will probably not exist in my lifetime. I don't think it will in that of my children, but I can't deny my love for it. You know, wanting to be there in that struggle. That's why I'm fighting." I think about this reading all the time. I am in love with a United States and a democracy that does not yet exist. I love my Unitarian Universalism as we are right now, and I have a vision for what it could be like. I would like to share with you, because sometimes we take our principles, we get used to them, we don't read them all, and I'm going to share with you exactly what our fifth principle of the faith has to say. It says, "Unitarian Universalist congregations together affirm and promote our fifth principle, the right of conscience, and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and society at large." That means we have work to do. I'm tired. Are any of you tired of the politics and the wearing down in our state? It's hard. And I don't stand up here to pretend to you that it's easy at all. What I know is that there's joy in working for democracy together. What I know is that there are people in this congregation and in UU congregations all around the state and in our partnerships who are doing the work and are asking us to join them. Here in Houston, Harris County, here's some good news for you. You've added more voters than any other county in the past 4 years, an increase of more than 230,000 new voters. Let's go, Harris County. Harris County has more than 2.6 million registered voters as of last month, January. Now, I talked with one of your members during coffee hour, Rob Hallenbeck, who does the work of registering voters, of being an election judge, and all those things that it takes to keep our democracy going. And I asked Rob, because the Texas UU Justice Ministry is all of us. We bring our wisdom, you bring your wisdom. And I asked Rob, what would you want your congregation to know right now in this election year and as we're working together? And Rob said what the numbers tell us to be true. We can get people registered. We are getting people registered to vote. But what we need is to get people to actually vote. That is our work this year, my fellow UUs, is to get those people in Harris County that you did the faithful fifth principle UU work to get registered actually to the polls. Because I'm going to tell you something. I am a fourth-generation Texan raising fifth-generation Texans. I am in the middle of a three-generation UU family sandwich. I've got my mom at First UU in Austin. I've got my kids who are teens doing this work with me. And I love the Texas that actually does exist. It's diverse. It's beautiful. But the people who are getting elected by a tiny percentage of us do not represent that beautiful diversity. and the wisdom of so many different life experiences. So we've got to get more of us and more of the people in the communities that we're not even in touch with yet. That's a lot of our work, to the polls. Josh Houston of Texas Impact, which is our interfaith partner in this work, says, feel like your voice doesn't matter? Only 14%. And I'll tell you, Josh put an exclamation point in parentheses when he sent this. Only 14% of eligible Texans vote in the March primaries. But that's when most state legislative seats get decided. Legislators aren't ignoring their constituents, Josh says. They're just listening to the folks who bother to show up. Now, with love and respect to Josh, I'm going to take that word bother and I'm going to wag my finger a little bit. Because it's not just about whether people bother to show up. The vote, the effort to suppress so many people's vote is epic. And that's why it needs us to counteract it, to help college students find their polling place, to reach out and make sure people know how to vote. Rob also reminded me, I loved how Scott said, the best way to find out if you've got a typo is to hit send. For me, the best way to find out if you read the information not quite right is to say it out loud in the pulpit, and then someone will tell you in coffee hour. So I said that tomorrow is the deadline to register so you can vote in the general election. That's not true. Tomorrow is the deadline so you can register to vote in the primary in March, which is extremely important. So if there are people in your lives or communities that you can reach in the next 24 hours, that's my challenge to you. If there's anyone you're not sure if they're registered for the next 24 hours, let's see what we can do about that. But then more importantly, we need to do the work of getting people to the polls. And that is what your Texas UU Justice Ministry is here to do with you as a faith practice this year. If you do nothing after this service, I hope you'll go out and see Diane Reese at the JCC table. She's got signups for this Get Out the Vote work. We are working on a collective grant. We have taken your input. We surveyed every congregation in the state of our UUs to ask, what are the issues that are most important for you? And we hear you: reproductive justice, climate justice, racial justice, immigration, economic justice, voting rights and saving democracy, gun control. There's so much, and we can't do it alone. So we're writing a grant for our organizers to have more time to work with our congregations to get people to the polls this year who can vote and be heard. Because let's talk about the numbers again for a little bit. Only 32% of Texas citizens age 18 to 24 voted in the 2000 presidential election. 32%. 52% of those 25 to 44, 63% of those in my age bracket, 45 to 64, 67% in the 65 to 75, and 60% of those who are older. That's a lot of people for us to reach as a practice of faith. I especially want to lift up, under the categories of racial demographics, white folks and black folks are voting about the same amount, 58%. Hispanic folks, 41%. Do we have any Spanish speakers in this congregation? A few. We really need you, and we really need to connect with the organizations that do have volunteers and materials so we can reach communities, particularly Spanish-speaking communities, so they'll know and they have the information of how to vote. Let's see. Who in this congregation gets bombarded by text, by call, by letters, by people of the two major parties trying to get you to vote? Me too. Me too. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how the partisan well, we could debate if there's anything wrong with that. But for our purposes right now, that's not what I'm here to talk about. But that is what the partisan communications machine is for, to get those of you that they can count on, those of us that they can count on, to vote a certain way to the polls. Our job as Unitarian Universalists who believe in the fifth principle is to reach people in a nonpartisan way for the very act of democracy. To have faith in people's voice and lived experience, which is one of the sources of our faith, to simply trust that if we had more than 42% of people living in poverty voting, if their voices were being heard by our elected officials, our laws would be different. If we had more than 32% of the people who didn't graduate high school voting, things would be different. The voices of the people matter. That's our spiritual work to do. I'm not discouraging you from doing work with the party that you're a part of, whether it's a third party or a major party, but I'm asking you to please get involved with UU Justice Ministry and your JCC here at your church this year in the Get Out the Vote work, not because we want particular outcomes this year, though we may, but because we want something so powerful, something like beloved community, something so beautiful, 1,000 elections from now. And with that in mind, I want to invite you into the spirit of meditation, of imagination. It is so hard sometimes to imagine another world, but it is possible, and we must be the ones to dream it. So will you imagine with me a Texas where everybody votes? A Texas where it's easy to vote, so everyone is heard. What is the land like where you live and where you love, with legislators who've heard from everyone? Can you see it? Will you take a breath with me? How does it feel to breathe the air where people who are directly impacted by the climate crisis have voted and are holding our elected officials accountable for the air that we breathe? Imagine with me generations and generations and generations into the future as they go to seek health care. Your great, 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 great granddaughter walks in and is believed, can afford the health care she needs, is trusted. Our trans siblings and beloveds get the health care that they need because everybody's voice has been heard. Because I know, I travel to all corners of Texas in this job, and I know deep in my soul that if every voice in this state was heard, we would have the rights and the opportunities that we need. I'm a mother. I was a school teacher before I was a minister, and I invite you to imagine with me taking your kids 1,000 elections from now and taking them to school without fear of gun violence, without fear that they will be taught only part of the story of our history. And I'm going to allow some silence for you to imagine the thing that you want to see 1,000 elections from now, after we've done our work to make those ripples. Picture it. Will you come back into this space with me? How could we not be the ones to play some small part in that? I'll tell you, one of your Bay Area UU siblings told me a story last week when I went to visit them, and I share with her permission. She said, I did some get out the vote work 2 years ago, and we went to some apartment complexes near me. And I knocked on a door, and the woman came to the door, and I said, I wanted to talk with you about getting to the polls, and do you have what you need to get to the polls? And she said, wait, no one ever comes to talk to us. Let me get everyone from my household, and let me get my neighbors. And they brought people, and our Get Out the Vote folks talked to them. Not everybody even knows it's election day. We have a lot of work to do, and it matters that we do it. I want to invite you to rise, because I promised you the song from earlier, and I need you to do it with me. Will you rise in body or spirit if you're so willing, and join me in some snaps? All right, and when you get the song, sing it with me. Come on, come on, come on, don't you want to vote? Come on, come on, come on, don't you want to vote? Just like that. Come on, come on, come on, don't you want to vote? Oh, yes, I want to vote. Will you meet me at the polling place? Meet me at the polling place. Don't you want to vote? Will you meet me at the polling place? Don't you want to vote? Oh, will you meet me at the polling place? Don't you want to vote? Oh, yes, I want to vote. Do it for the children. Do it for the children. Don't you want to vote? Do it for the children. Don't you want to vote? I said, do it for the children. Don't you want to vote? Oh, yes, I want to vote. All right, now stay standing with me. Thank you. You sound so good. And isn't Chelsea just the greatest? All right. I love coming to this church. All right, stay standing with me. I'll tell you two things. Number one, I took out one of the verses we did in the first service, which was, have you registered somebody? Because I talked to Rob, and you have. You've done it. Your job is to get the people to the polls. I'm just letting you know. Put that song in your pocket from the Christian tradition, which has been altered from Don't You Want to Go to Don't You Want to Vote, from the civil rights tradition, from the Black tradition, as we are here in February, but all year long. Take that in your heart, put it in your pocket. Now, if you serve as a board member or a volunteer team member or advisory council member on the Texas UU Justice Ministry, would you please take a seat? Thank you so much. I see you, and thank you for your work. If you have been a recent volunteer or donor in the last couple of years to the Texas UU Justice Ministry, I invite you to have a seat. Thank you. If you have been living through this time in Texas, just trying to survive, just trying to take care of yourself and your family, and it's really hard, I see you, and I invite you to have a seat. It's okay. All right. Oh, that's everyone. Well, then that's real. That's real. But what I have to tell you is, especially everybody who was still there in that last group, you are the good news. You are the good news, because some of those few people that you saw who sat down were a little bit tired. And we are deepening our commitment. We are praying about it. We are being about it. We are showing up together. But could we use reinforcements? And so I would really like to invite you into this work with us, especially in this election year. And even though Du Bois said that today is the seed time and tomorrow is the harvest and the festivities. I'm trying to remember the exact words, but basically the party. I want you to know that we believe in all of it at once. We are having fun together. We are sustaining ourselves through community, through song, through celebration, because the work is hard and it does make everybody want to sit down. But we are so needed. We are so needed. And the fifth principle calls us. So before I go, I just want to give you some simple asks. Keep your faith in democracy. Imagine what it would be like if we didn't have it. We have to fight for the things that we've already won so we don't lose them, and you know that. Everybody out there who fought for abortion rights knows we have to keep up the fight, and the democracy is the same way. So keep the faith, and when you hear people talk about how their vote doesn't matter, I beg you to bring them the good news that their vote does matter, and we do need them. And just a reminder about gerrymandering, it doesn't affect statewide elections. So a lot of times people say, oh, gerrymandering, it doesn't matter. It matters for who our governor is, for who our attorney general is, just those two roles alone. Absolutely, but I'm thinking about the work that our governor and our attorney general have done against our human rights. Please, please tell your friends, your family, your community that their vote matters. We need them. So that's one. Keep the faith in our fifth principle. Number two, please sign up at the justice table for the Get Out the Vote work. Please sign up at txuujm.org for our emails. Again, that's txuujm.org. Come and see us in the programs that you'll find on our website, our Action Hour, our statewide gathering coming up March 23rd in Dallas. And support the Get Out the Vote efforts as you hear about them in your church. We're working on it with you. So if you're paying attention to what's going on here, we're supporting that and we're working with you. And we are very excited for what's possible this year. We know the difference we can make because we've done it before. And so we just need you to keep the faith in the fifth principle with us. And the next time I come see you, I'll tell you about all the wins we had since I saw you today. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the work that we're doing together. Let's sing.
Please join us in hymn number 108 from your gray hymnals. Please rise and body your spirit.
That heals the new creation.
would you join me in the words to extinguish our chalice? You'll find them in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until they are together again.
Would you turn to a neighbor and tell them, look them in the eye and tell them, your voice matters. Your voice matters. Your voice matters, Scott. Would you turn to someone and tell them, your vote matters? Spirit of life and love, give us the courage, give us the fortitude, even though we are tired, and they have made us tired by design, to know that we contain within us the strength to make the change that we need. We have the resources among us as long as we don't become siloed, as long as we reach out to our fellow UUs and our partners and listen to the communities that our legislators are not listening to yet. May we be part of the great movement that brings something beautiful 1,000 elections from now, this year, and always. Go in peace and love, and go in action for democracy. Blessed be.
Gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right. As I turn up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind. I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their needs? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top, and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If they want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. I've been a victim of a selfish kind of love. It's time that I realize that there are some with no home. Got a nickel to loan. Could it be really me pretending that they're not alone? A willow deeply scarred, somebody's broken heart, and a washed out dream. They follow the pattern of the wind, you see, 'cause they got no place to be. That's why I'm starting with me. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. I'm starting with the man
Thank you for joining us. We want to know who you are and would love to connect with you. Please fill out the link to the online attendance form, and if you are on YouTube, click like and subscribe. If you're interested in joining our congregation, email us at membership@firstuuhouston.org. Thanks so much.